to the Political Cesspool, known worldwide as the South's foremost populist radio program. And here to guide you through the murky waters of the Political Cesspool is your host, James Edwards.
Welcome back to the Political Cesspool Radio program, everyone. Our award-winning broadcast out of Memphis, Tennessee, AM 1380 WLRM Radio, and syndicated on the Liberty News Radio Network and their AM/FM affiliates across the country. The Political Cesspool, as seen on CNN and Fox News, as read about in the Los Angeles Times, the London Times, and other comparable publications. We hope that you enjoyed tonight's first hour and an incredible interview with Dr. Kevin McDonald of California State University, Long Beach. I appreciate Keith Alexander for his service and helping me with that interview. Joining me now in the co-pilot seat, Mr. Bill Rowland, our good friend and co-host, and also it's a great, an esteemed honor to welcome to our program for the first time a man who is an author, a patriot, former World War II veteran, former Jeopardy grand champion, and father of Academy Award-winning director Mel Gibson. Hutton Gibson has spent 3 years in the seminary and dedicated his life to defending the faith of our fathers, something that is near and dear to our hearts as well. We're going to be talking with Mr. Gibson this evening about the manifestation of politically correct heresy in the church, as well as the secularization of the Christian faith in general. Hutton Gibson's books include the titles Is the Pope Catholic and The Enemy is Still Here. Both of these are available autographed and for purchase at HuttonGibson.com. Mr. Gibson, thank you for accepting our invitation to appear. It's certainly an honor.
A pleasure.
Bill Rowland, that being said, I'd like to welcome you also to the program, and let's get things kicked off the right way with our very special guest.
Well, James, thank you. It's good to be back on the show again. I've missed the audience, and I hope that the audience missed me a little, and it's really an honor for me to be on the show with Mr. Gibson. And I tell you, I have a question. Mr. Gibson, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, well, sometimes our connections go a little sour, so I never know whether I can be heard on the air or not. But your book is The Pope Catholic. Basically addresses current heresies in the Catholic Church and the turn of the Catholic Church after the Second Vatican towards heresy. Can you explain a little bit to us about the Second Vatican and when the heresies began to creep into the Catholic Church at the very highest level?
Well, I think they must have been creeping in for some time. We almost had a Masonic Pope in 1903, but the Emperor of Austria stopped it with a veto before the man got enough votes. There were four countries that had a veto. Austria, Hungary, well, for the Holy Roman Empire, France, Spain, and Portugal. Because a pope who was politically opposed to any one of them could make an awful mess of things in the climate of the day. And but anyway, they broke loose into the open at the death of Pius XII, and John 23rd called this council for no reason whatsoever except to destroy the church. We've got to open the windows, he said, and let in the bats.
Interesting. Well, now, the Second Vatican was a distinct break from previous Catholic doctrine and tradition. In what ways was the Second Vatican really a liberalization, and I should say, I guess, a humanization of Catholic Church doctrine and Catholic Church practice?
Well, they went to work and re-examined. They said they were going to re-examine every doctrine of the Church, with one exception, and I suppose you can guess that was papal infallibility, because they needed that for a bluff. And the thing is that John himself was not not eligible for the papacy, having been apostatized as a Freemason. years earlier. And
so
his record is such that he promoted Freemasonry everywhere, and he's the first pope that ever died to the great plaudits of Freemasonry. Oh, we lost our friend.
Well, now, the Second Vatican clearly introduced doctrines which I think most people would recognize, even people who are not Catholic, as being a liberalization of Catholic policy and of Catholic beliefs. Now, you talk about the infallibility of the Pope. Didn't actually the Second Vatican distort, or the popes themselves distort, the concept of infallibility?
Well, it's been distorted by the people who accept it more than it binds. The Pope is infallible only in matters of faith and morals. If he expresses a political opinion, you can relegate it to the usual garbage that comes out of anybody that's in the public eye.
But I think the impression is that the infallibility of the Pope is a personal infallibility, and that's where the Second Vatican, or where the doctrine has been corrupted.
Well, that's corrupted there because it is not a personal. It goes with the office as a means of preservation. It's when you look at a religion, if it isn't infallible, it can't be true. And nobody else has ever claimed it but the Catholic religion, and it claims it for its legitimate popes.
Well, now, I noticed that one of the things in your writing that you bring up, and I'd like to ask you to sort of elaborate a little bit on this concept. I think it's familiar to most of us who are conservative in our beliefs and Christians. But the concept of modernism you describe creeping into Catholic doctrine, particularly through the vehicle of the Second Vatican. Exactly what do you mean by modernism?
Well, it's the idea that Jesus Christ and his apostles left us a skeleton, and we built on it, and we continue to build on it as we get more intelligent. Evolution enters into this, which is garbage. I don't know any more than my grandfather. Maybe things like how to turn on an electric light switch. But more machines, more engineering stuff. But in the line of